Please be seated. The court is now back in session. Again, the floor is given to the Deputy Co-Prosecutor to put questions to the witness.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, we were talking about the arrests that you witnessed of two of your superiors, and you had described what you saw that day at Boring Pray Up. The people who came to arrest them, were they armed? Did they have weapons?
When they came to arrest Num and Sro Lao, they were armed, and there were 4 to 5 of them. I was present there when they came, and when they arrived, they called Num to meet them, and when Num came out, he was arrested. He was tied up and arrested.
All right, you've testified that you were in Battalion 314 of Division 310, the Logistics Battalion, and that's confirmed by your biography. There are a few Battalion 314 cadres who appear in the records from S21 that I would like to ask you about. With your leave, Mr. President, I'd like to provide to the witness a document from S21, a list of prisoners from Division 310. It appears in document E3/2592, E3/2592. May I provide that to the witness with your leave?
Yes, you may.
The two people I'd like to ask you about appear on the first page of this document, Mr. Witness. Let's start first with number 28 on this list. Number 28 on this list of prisoners from Division 310 is a person, Va B, identified as the Secretary of Battalion 314, who entered S21 on the 5th of May, 1977. Your Honors, he also appears as number 13294 on the OCIJ list. That's 13294 on the OCIJ list. The person that I've circled, number 28, it's down at the bottom of the first page. Do you remember this person who is identified as the Secretary of Battalion 314?
No, I do not recall that. I only recall Yit and Kran, and I don't recall the Saban.
The second person on the same list is the person who appears at number 14. Number 14 on S21 list E32592. And the name of this person is Mak Yi Hung, alias Nim. He's described in this list as a battalion office assistant responsible for logistics, who entered S21 on the 8th of May, 1977. And the same person also appears as number 4701 on the OCIJ list, 4701 on the OCIJ S21 list, where he's identified as the Assistant Chief of the Battalion 314 Logistics Office. This person who appears at number 14, whose alias is Nim, is this the same person that you've described in your testimony, the Nim who was the deputy chief of your unit?
Yes, I know Nim. He was my chief as well.
And just so we're clear, is this the same Nim whose arrest you witnessed at Boeng Prayap that you just described earlier this afternoon?
Yes. Nim was arrested. He was previously for the logistics unit in Battalion 314. However, he was based at Bang Prayap, although he belongs to Battalion 314.
Thank you. Your Honors, for the record, Nim also appears as number 9 in an S-21 list of 198 prisoners who were smashed on the 10th of June, 1977. That is document E3/2132. E3/2132. Again, Nim is number 9 in that execution list. I want to also ask you a few questions about some of the people who you had worked with at the Preah Khet Malay Hospital. Do you know whether any of the people, your fellow workers from Preah Khet Malay Hospital, were arrested or disappeared in 1977?
At that time, Division 310 was dissolved when the Southwest Group came to take charge. So those people who worked at Preah Khet Malay Hospital all disappeared, and I do not know whether they were reassigned elsewhere or they were sent elsewhere, because by that time the unit was dissolved.
And the people who disappeared from Preah Khet Malay Hospital, were these people who, like yourself, had originally come from the North Zone, Zone 304?
No, they all came from the Central Zone.
I think we're talking about the same zone. Do you recall that the Central Zone, before it was called the Central Zone, it was originally known as the North Zone or Zone 304? Do you recall that, or have you forgotten that?
From 1970 to the time of the coup d'etat to fight the Tribunal soldiers, the zone was known as a Zone 304.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Do you know what happened to wives and relatives of the leaders of Division 3 and 310, such as the wife of Division 310 Secretary Un? Do you know what happened to wives and relatives after the leaders of the Division 310 were arrested?
At that time, I did not know. I only heard from other people that the wife of the commander was also arrested and taken along with her husband.
I've provided to you earlier the OCIJ interview of the fellow medic who worked with you at Prayakat Malay, Yorn, and I want to read to you another excerpt from his interview. This is again E3 5497, E3 5497, Khmer ERN 00343, 724 through 726, French 00411, 790 through 791, and English 00345, 959. And this is what Yorn testified in his OCIJ interview. He's discussing here the hospital. Question: was So the hospital chairman until the fall of the regime? Answer: So stayed as the hospital chairman until approximately late 1976. I heard later on that he'd been sent for a study course and he just disappeared. After Sao had disappeared, Vun, a female, became the hospital chairwoman. Vun was the wife of Un, the commander of Division 310. People told one another that So had been arrested by the Ankar. Following So's arrest, the hospital staff members were arrested one after another. And then continuing a few questions later. By the time Un, Division 310 commander, was arrested, Vun, Un's wife, and the chairwoman of Ankh Dung Hospital was also arrested following Un's arrest. End of quote. Do you remember the wife of Division 310 Commander Un? And do you remember whether she worked for a period as the chairwoman of the Division 310 hospital?
At that time, he used to be chief of Division 310 hospital.
Did you ever meet her?
She was in a senior position. I myself was only a low-rank staff. I did not dare to speak to her.
Fair enough, Mr. Witness. Your Honors, for the record, number 6961 on the OCIJ S21 list is Prum Nor alias Veen, identified as the wife of Un and chief of the children's team in Division 310, entering S21 on the 26th or 27th of February 1977. Mr. Witness, I want to turn now to your own arrest. Counsel for the defense has asked you some questions about your arrest already. I want to ask you a few follow-ups. You testified that you were put in a truck and taken to an office where you stayed for 2 or 3 days. During those 2 or 3 days, were you shackled, handcuffed, or tied up?
They detained me and did not allow me to go anywhere. They told me to wait for Angkar, that Angkar would come to call a meeting and that we would be taken away. I was ordered to remain at one place and not to go anywhere.
I understand that you were ordered to remain there. Were you put in handcuffs or were you tied up while you were in this office waiting for Angkar?
They put me in a room and the room was locked, so no, I could not go anywhere. However, I could look outside through an iron bar or window.
Let me read to you an excerpt from your DC Cam interview. This is E3 7537, E3 7537, Khmer ERN 000-19647 through 648, French 00291 005 through 06, and English 00251 255. This is from your DC Cam interview. Question: when you arrived at the prison, did they point any guns at you? Answer: no, there were no guns. They asked me if I worked with any Yun, Vietnamese spies, called KGB. I said I just cured people, I didn't have any connections. They asked if I received any indoctrination, and I said no, I just did what I was told to do. And continuing a little later, I slept there overnight. On the next morning, Yeet came. He claimed that I wasn't involved in any activity hindering our party. He said so. And I didn't know the prison was there. I thought I was just transferred to work there. Question: were you handcuffed? Answer: no. It was just that they didn't care about our meals. I didn't have anything to eat and didn't know where to go and eat. But they went out to eat, so I just sat there and waited to see where I was to be transferred. Yeet came the next day, late in the afternoon. End of quote. I just want to confirm, Mr. Witness, is it correct that you weren't provided any meals while you were at this office, and that the people who worked at the office would leave you there when they went to go have their meals? Is that correct?
Yes, that's what happened at the time. They did not care about me. And I never thought of the purpose why I was brought there. They didn't think of giving us meals. So at the time, there were food ration, and if I did not go, it means that I would not have my ration.
And you've said this a few times during your testimony, that you didn't know that you were at a prison office, and you said in the statement I just read that you thought you had been transferred to work there. Do I understand correctly that during the couple of days you were there, that you thought you had been sent to this new office to work, and that you didn't realize you were at a prison office until Yeet showed up? Is that correct?
Yes, Yid showed up, and only later on when Yid was released, he told me about that.
And when you were released from this office, how did you return to your unit? How were you transported back to your unit? Did you go back with Yeet, or did you go separate? Can you tell the court how it is that you were released and transported back to your unit?
When we returned, that is after Yid came to resolve the matter, I took a ride with Yid.
And what time of day was it? Was it during the daytime or at nighttime when Yeet came to get you?